Recently I spent a weekend in Germany again, and of course we gotta visit zoos. And I almost can't believe it, but it was actually good weather, sometimes even too good, with a lot of sun and about 33 degrees Celsius, but it was really fun. Now I visited Duisburg Zoo, which was pretty cool. They had a few new exhibits with some interesting kangaroos. And it is actually one of the few zoos that still has dolphins and does shows with them. So that was quite interesting. But because of the good times, I didn't really make a lot of footage of the zoo. And I also didn't feel like it was worth sharing the whole zoo. What I did feel like was worth sharing is the zoo we are gonna visit in this video. And that is Cologne Zoo or Cologne Zoo. Now for those who are only interested in the amazing reptile section, make sure to use the timestamps, but that will be a miss as this sure is a cool zoo to look around in. The zoo itself I was very impressed by. You could see some older elements, but most enclosures were very well done, and as seen in many zoos nowadays, for instance the moats, when possible, are empty to create more living space for the animals. And although they had a lot of the quintessential zoo species like the meerkats and the lions, there were also some very interesting species in this park. Some of the more impressive parts of the zoo was the large space for the elephants, which was divided in several sections, and you could really see the elephants walk like in a great distance. This is very different from what I've seen in many other parks, so that was really nice. What I also liked was the big building for the hippopotamus, who had a large indoor section, which they shared with some birds. And there were also some nice big Nile crocodiles, which they had for many years. And there was a building that almost seemed made for me, the Asian greenhouse, which could have had a more interesting plant selection, but still was a very nice change compared to the most South American themed greenhouses you see in many other zoos. My favorite part was, of course, the Monoria emich, which looked absolutely great, and it was so cool to see a species I keep myself in this setting. There's also a section, a little bit tucked away, where they have some of the highly endangered koala species. I do have to say, I was quite surprised to see the koala cycloornata at actually a very small water section. Whilst the general public seems to enjoy visiting zoos, there's also a growing group of people who seem to think that zoos don't have a place anymore in these modern days. The counter-rhetoric to justify zoos and the animals they keep is that they play an important role in conservation. This can be done by simply helping people appreciate animals more, by information and drawing attention to the threats these animals face, and of course breeding projects. But a zoo also needs to be interesting to the general public and visitors. So many of these programs, at least in front of the scenes, are what animals that draw the attention. But not with Cologne Zoo, it seems. Especially in the reptile and aquarium section, there are many species that you don't usually see in the general zoos, like many Madagascan cichlids and many Vietnamese species in the amazing terrarium and aquarium building. This building is a separate part with a separate entrance of the zoo and houses an interesting selection of animals. The space is not huge, but very interestingly set up. It seems like a combination of a nice zoo exhibit and reptile room due to the choice of terrariums and decoration. And whilst the aquarium section is your typical dark space with sparse lights only from the aquariums, the reptile section has plenty of natural sunlight entering the space. As you can see, they are focusing on Vietnamese species with the current Vietnamazing project, but they also have a very nice selection of varanids. Some of these species I have not seen before in either a zoo or private collection. What is also very interesting is the pair of Philippine crocs, the smallest true crocodile species, not only because these are very rare crocodilians, but also because they actually left some young with the mother, so she could perform her natural protective instincts in a captive setting, which I thought was very cool. section, there were some really interesting species. I like that they seem to have an aquarium with coral frags, although covered in cyanos. And there were also some aquariums with all captive bred seahorses and pipefish and some other cool marine species, which I of course love. I think both the reptile aquarium but also the zoo itself is a great example of how active a zoo can be when it comes to conservation projects. I love the species they have, a lot of the information they give and the projects they work on, and also the outreach this zoo does and the way they present themselves on social media, and also support projects that are more in situ based. I really like that, so that was the reason I wanted to visit the zoo. And I have to say, it was really nice. I was actually really positively surprised. And with those words, I want to end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, let me know if you've also been to the zoo and what were your thoughts, or if you've seen the video, let me know what you think. And I hope to see you on the next one.